Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the Intentional Living Podcast with Emlah. I'm honored and excited today to spend this morning with my wonderful friend Jen. Thank you for coming. And so Jen Shaver is a wonderful health coach that I have worked with at Power Pharmacy to help clients. And she was one of the first people I thought of when I started the intentional living journey. And I said, I need Jen on my board of directors to help me, not just everybody, not my clients, but for selfish reasons, for my own self, because she's one of the most centered people and grounded people you will meet. And I can't wait to share a little bit about her during this podcast. Thank you for being here.
I would not miss a chance to chat with you.
Oh, I love that. And a little backstory about like just something little when the idea came to my mind and I was honored with this blessing of starting a podcast, the first person I talked to was you. I reached out to you. And do you remember our tea? And you said, let's have some tea. Let's have some coffee and some tea. And we sat down and talked about this. So let's get started. Why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay.
And so they get to have the honor of meeting you.
Well, as Emlah mentioned, I actually was a health coach who worked with women in menopause and perimenopause. And I recently stepped away from that role.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a mom of three. I have two dogs and been married to my husband for 27 years. So
congratulations.
That is actually the reason why I decided to step away from health coaching because, a lot of people think, oh, when your kids are young, that's when they take the most time.
Yes.
And you had invited me to be a part of the intentional living seminar.
Yes.
In January of 25.
January 25, we had the intentional living experience.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
And it was absolutely, I'm going to say it was life-changing, quite honestly.
Honored. I'm going to hold you off right there and say the intentional living experience for 2026 is going to be January 24th. We're going to have that in the show notes, and we're already building towards it.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
If you did not attend in 25, I invite you right now. Mark that day off in your calendar because, as I said, it was life-changing for me.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
Because it made me ask myself, am I living intentionally?
Whew.
Yeah.
That's the hardest question. Yes.
I did not expect that to happen, right? And I left and I went, you're not honoring what you're out there preaching. You cannot
teach people something that you don't practice.
Doing what you're not practicing what you preach, sweetie. Get to it, right? And so, I would spend a lot of time telling women, about movement.
Yes, and nutrition.
And make it, right, and nutrition,
yes.
And how to make those things intentional within their lives.
Yes.
And not go to extremes with them. Because I think
that's what happens.
That's really what happens and why women run into so many difficulties with those things. Is,
yes.
They think, I have to spend an hour exercising. I can only eat chicken and rice. I can,
yes.
Something just so extreme.
So extreme and so difficult.
But there's other components to it, too. Right?
I can't wait. So I just love this.
I left there and I thought, I am not being intentional with my time.
Yes.
When it came to my family. And so I wanted to spend more time, because I had spent 18 years as a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
Right. So for 18 years, I was very intentional with my time.
Yes.
And then I spent 5 years doing the health coaching.
Yes.
And I had really poured myself into it because in all that I do, that's what I do.
I know. I worked with you for some of those years and I enjoyed it. I loved having you as a health coach. Yes.
Yeah. But I found that it was taking too much of my time away from where my heart really wanted to be. And so that's why I stepped away. So I could be more intentional. Just because my children are grown,
yes.
I've got one in dental school, so she's graduated college, doesn't mean that she doesn't need me, right?
Yes.
So Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my
But I
goodness.
left that
This,
day, and that's what
yes.
I want people to understand. And I'm not telling you that you're going to leave and say, "Oh, I'm going to go quit my job now." Not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it made me take a look at what I'm doing. Am I
Mm-hmm.
being intentional
Yes.
with the things I'm doing? And, maybe for someone that's, am I being intentional with the way that I am interacting with others,
Yes.
with the way that I'm moving throughout my day,
Yes.
right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Maybe that makes you really look at, maybe I should turn my phone off, or stop scrolling and use that time for some movement,
I
or
love
use that
that.
time to meal prep some healthy lunches for the
Yes.
week instead of sitting on my phone, or whatever it is. You will leave that day. Number one, I left so energized because I was surrounded by so many inspirational women
I want to get off
in the
now
other
and
room.
just start jumping and dancing because this is
Yeah.
my dream. This is my goal
Yeah.
with the intentional living experience, that we can come to that realization and sit down. And I ask myself, I say, Emlah, what does intentional living mean to me? When I talk about intentional living, and I always want to remind people about the pillars of intentional living: nutrition, movement, inner alignment, and positive social connections. What are your goals for your life, and are you living each day in alignment with that?
And I think that's just it. I had three of those four were together, right?
Which
But
one
that
was not together?
the inner
Yes,
alignment,
the inner alignment.
that's the one that was
Yes,
out of place.
it's one of the hardest.
It most certainly is.
It is. It
You know,
is. When you figure it out, you let us know because we're working on
I think
that.
it's a work in progress
It is.
for everyone.
Yes.
But it's also asking yourself, what does it mean to be intentional each day as I live? And a lot of that, I think, has to do with, as life gets going, as we have families, as we have
Yes.
jobs, as we have this, that, and the other, we start to just go through the motions, right? And when we're going through the motions, we're not focused. We are just going,
Living on autopilot.
right?
Yes.
And so we're not living intention.
And you can't make the most of your life that way.
Exactly.
You can make the most of your life. We have, I've always, when we say, a lot of times I started to reassess the word working progress because I used it a lot.
Yeah.
And one day I was talking with my daughter. She was 13 at the time. And I said, working progress. I prefer to look at it as we are actually whole already, complete. But we grow in different dimensions when we stuck on intentional living. And so when you look at that working progress and transform it, like you are already whole. And then when you grow, you open your mind and you open up your ideas to intentional living and you say, how can I put food on my plate in a way that it adds on to this wholeness? How can I move my body in a way that it adds on? How can I be inner aligned in such a way that it adds on? And then that helps us switch from that autopilot to an aligned lifestyle. And we can superficially say all these words, but I'd like you to break it down. What is something that you do in your daily life, every day or every week, that helps you be more aligned? What is a practical thing that you do?
For me personally,
Yes.
I do a rosary walk every day.
Tell us more what a rosary walk is.
I say my rosary while I walk. And
All right.
that's how I start my day. Sometimes it's with my dogs. Sometimes I do it before I walk my dogs.
Okay, I was going to say, do you have a specific time that you do this, or is this
No, but I
Okay.
make sure that I do it daily.
so? In the past week, have you missed a day?
No.
How do you make sure that it actually happens without missing?
So I have a list, if you want to call it that, of non-negotiables that I have every day.
Here's a list of non-negotiables. Tell us more.
There's things that I just have to do every day. And one of them is to move. Does it look the same every day? No. Some days it's strength training, but I make sure that I am at least getting a 20 to 30 minute walk. And most days it's more than that. Now, a lot of people, oh, well, lucky you. Well, you have the time. I get that. I do.
You will hear that a lot.
I
Yeah.
know that I get
Yes.
that a lot. And that's
Yes.
okay. And yes, I do have the time.
Yes. But you create the time.
Exactly.
Yes, you do create the time because
You know. because I could choose. Would I like to sit? My little dog loves to snuggle.
Yes.
Would I love to just sit and
And
snuggle
do
and
that?
read a book
Yeah.
or scroll on my phone? Not gonna lie, yeah, there are some days that, especially
just
in the
wanna do
winter,
that,
when
yes.
it's harder for me to get moving.
Yes. And I love that you say that walk can look different on different days. You go different routes, you bring some variety to it. Variety to me is the spice of
Right.
life.
And some days it might be shorter
Yes.
than, what I really want to do. Some days I might have some extra time, so
I
I
love
get to
that.
walk longer.
You know,
But movement and, like I said, my rosary walk,
Uh-huh.
those are my non-negotiables.
I see what you did there. You combined movement and inner alignment, and you did it in one block of time.
Yeah,
So you're not only moving your body,
right,
you're praying your rosary.
right.
Inner alignment and movement
Yeah.
together. How beautiful. How efficient. So what that reminds me of my movement. And I tell myself, I said, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. Because running my business, taking care of the kids, it's really a juggling act. So what I do, I wake up by 6 o'clock, I'm out of the bed. So I wake up around 5:30, but by 6 o'clock, I'm in the basement working out. So this is the weekday for me.
Right.
So Monday through Friday, between 6 and 6:30, I'm in the basement working out.
Right.
Or I'm walking. I mostly walk during the weekend, but I get to the basement to get 30 minutes done before I come back upstairs and wake up my children.
Right.
So by 6:30, I've already gotten 30 minutes of movement.
Exactly.
And then I wake up my children because once I wake up my children, my day is gone.
And I
It
think
belongs to them now. Yes.
that's the important thing. You have said, this is my time.
100%. I'm the only one awake at that time. The children are still sleeping. They wake up at
And,
6:30.
And I think the other thing to mention is, we have to look at all of these other things, right? You
Yes.
are running a business that
Yes.
has so many different hands to
Yes.
it, right? Like all
Yes.
these different areas to it. You have your kids, you have a husband,
Yes.
but you have decided that you and your health are important. You're not getting up at 4 a.m.,
Non-negotiable.
right?
No. I love my sleep and I need my sleep. Please. I do. Thank you.
But you have managed to make it a part of your routine. And I think that's the thing that many women need to understand. You didn't say you were spending 60 to 90 minutes.
No.
30 minutes. And 30 minutes is
Consistently.
more than enough. And you're doing it consistently.
That's the word.
And that's what's important.
Yes.
And I think that's what
Yes.
women need to understand. You're also not going down to your basement and, punishing yourself because of this exercise, thinking that
No.
each workout has to be this.
No, they're different. Some days I lift, some days I ride, some mornings I walk. I walk almost every Saturday. I walk with my friends. So, and that is different. So I do the things that I like. I go to Kate for the dance class. So something interesting, something different. It's important that with the movement piece, you do what you love. And we've talked about movement. We've talked about inner alignment and the nutrition piece. Yeah. She said, what have you found to be the hardest when it comes to being intentional about nutrition?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's making sure that I am balanced with it and showing, because I have 2 daughters,
Yes.
and showing them
Remind me how old your daughters are again.
19 and 23.
What are their names?
Cassidy and Sophie.
Lovely. Lovely. Congratulations for raising such wonderful ladies. Yes.
But making sure that they have a good relationship with food. And so, I
As young women, yes.
right. Because I feel like, especially as Gen X,
Oh, in this day of today.
we grew up in the fat-free era, count your calories, diet. We didn't learn how to have that positive relationship
With food.
And so it's really important that my daughters understand that, and understand that when we nourish our bodies with certain foods, we're going to feel better.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that, don't eat, ice cream or donut. I don't want them to fear those things.
Yes.
But I also want them to understand that we don't eat those every night. Right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
and so how do you teach that without instilling a fear of those things? I guess, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that has been a learning process, right? Because I
Yes.
myself have to relearn what society taught me,
Yes.
right?
And reteach yourself. You know, that reminds me of the Pareto principle. And I'm hoping that our listeners have heard about the Pareto principle. He was an Italian economist who came up with the 80-20 rule. And so I applied that to intentional living, specifically to the pillar of nutrition.
Right.
80% of the time, we're very intentional about what goes on our plate. We're picking nutrient dense meals that have the antioxidants, the phytonutrients, food that comes from the soil, food that is whole. 80% of the time, we're putting that on our plate. 20% of the time, we can get what we want to have on our plate.
Right.
So that way we're not stressing about food. And like you said, changing our relationship with food.
Yeah.
So the Pareto principle, that 80-20 rule, can be applied to the pillar of nutrition.
Right.
To make it balanced, so that way we're not scared of food. We can go out and have ice cream.
Right.
We can
Right.
have a cup of wine, and it's okay. But that's not what we're eating 80% of the time. 80% of the time, we're putting nutrient dense foods on our plate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, when I was working with women, a lot of them there was always like this guilt that we had
Yes,
with
yes,
and they wouldn't want to, oh, I had such a bad day. I ate this, and this. And I'm just like, okay, that was one day. And,
Yes.
one of the sayings that I would always use to them with them was, one hot day doesn't make it summer. In other words,
yes. I
February
love
15th.
that. Yeah, I love when you said that all the time to the clients. Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's summer, it's February.
Yes,
So
yes.
you had that one day. So this is where, though, you have to make a choice then, right? And be intentional,
Intentional.
right? Just because you had that one day, does
Yes.
that mean that the next day is going to look like that? Or can you be intentional now and say, okay, that was yesterday.
Today I put
Today's a new
nutrient dense
day,
foods on my
right?
plate. I love it. One hot day doesn't make it summer. So we have to be intentional about putting the foods that are nutrient dense on our plate, but then leaving room to build that relationship with food
Right.
in such a way that it's not the guilt relationship, something that's sustainable, something that, because once you do that and you guilt trip yourself,
Yep.
you throw off your inner alignment piece and you're not satisfied. You're going down. Instead of building up the ladder of intentional living, we're going down, and we don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. It just sets you up for this constant cycle of fear around food, of negative self-talk, right?
Yes,
Oh, I
we don't
have
want that.
willpower. Oh, I can't do this. Or
And you manifest those things when you start saying that and you start bringing that into your life. There's something I want us to talk about. I know you had a diagnosis,
Yeah.
which you shared, and that, transformed the lives. You transformed the lives of several of our clients by sharing your story,
Yeah.
and that, they saw themselves in you. Can you share that with our listeners today? Yes.
Certainly. So I have a wonderful doctor, thank goodness,
Yes.
who said, hey, when I was 49,
Yes.
why don't we go and do a DEXA scan?
And that's not normal. Like, put that
No.
into perspective. A DEXA scan is done when you're typically 65, about.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Now, do I agree with that? No.
Tell
No,
us
I
more.
do not.
Yes.
So I went and had one. Now, insurance doesn't cover it, but I'm going to tell you what. It was $45.
In case, and some of our listeners don't know what a DEXA scan is, what is this measuring?
DEXA scan measures
Yes.
your bone density, which, basically the strength of your bones.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And as we age, we lose muscle.
Yes.
And we lose bone density.
Yes.
We can't stop it. There's nothing we can do to stop it. But we can help to slow that process and help to improve our outcomes as we
Yes.
age
Yes.
by strength training.
Yes.
And making sure that we are building muscle, eating enough protein in our
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Vitamin
100%.
D levels.
100%.
So I went for my DEXA scan at 49. And as someone who is a devout, has always been a devout exerciser, I'm a former marathoner. I did triathlons. Again, exercise has always been my non-negotiable.
And that's a blessing. Not everybody can say that. And here you are with a bone density scan.
And it comes back and they say, well, you have osteoporosis.
At what age? Remind me again.
49.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
At 49.
Yeah. I was like, you sure?
Can we do that scan one more time? Yes.
Helen's
Uh-huh.
results and not
Yeah, not
mine.
yours. Yeah. You're 49.
Yeah.
You know, osteoporosis in my mind is 65 plus.
Right. Right. Well,
That's
and this
the
is
average
why I
person
think it's
thinking now.
important
Yes.
that women should get this scan
Yes.
because I'm glad I knew that.
Yes.
Right. I continue to strength train, but
Uh-huh.
I have changed the way in which I strength train.
That's what I was going to say. So after that diagnosis, what things did you do different?
So I spend one day a week with lifting a lot heavier for fewer reps.
Yes.
So a lot of times
Lifting a lot heavier
right,
for
so
fewer reps.
5 reps, 3 to 5 reps
Mm-hmm.
at a really, really heavy. Like there's no way on God's green earth that I could ever do that for 10 to 12 reps.
Yes.
Which is more endurance lifting.
Yes.
if you will.
Yes.
So I spend one day a week working with the trainer doing that.
Yes.
And then the other 2 days of lifting that I do, and all my lifting days are full body.
Yes.
The other 2 days are 10 to 12 reps.
Yes.
Not a lightweight, but obviously lighter.
Heavier.
than
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Yes.
It was kind of really another reason why I also stepped back from coaching was,
Yes.
well, movement had never taken a back seat. My workouts were not as focused.
Yes.
I was doing exactly what I was telling the ladies not to do. Don't just show up at the gym and go through the motions.
Yes.
And I'm again,
Doing that.
I'm
Yes.
not
Yes.
practicing what I'm
Yes.
saying. And so since I've stepped away, I've noticed a definite difference.
As you're being more intentional.
I can lift.
Yes.
Like I'm progressing to a new weight faster.
I love that. I love that. And this was the first thing. So,
I
yes.
am there focused on my workout. I'm not thinking about, okay, I have this appointment. Okay, I need to do this for this client.
Yes. Thinking about yourself and
Yeah.
working on intentional living and working. You have a goal. This
Right.
osteoporosis, we need to slow this progression.
Right.
And strength training is number one.
Right. And, I have come to find out I have been on thyroid medication for 22 years. That is directly related
Yes.
to
Yes. And there's several medications. I have a full episode that we will be doing on the medications that can increase risk for osteoporosis. And one is the, PPIs, the proton pump inhibitors, the omeprazole, pantoprazole that people take for acid reflux. That's one of the things that we take forever. Meanwhile, it was only approved to be taken for 14 days. There are only special cases where you have to take it for a longer period of time. But people take this because it works well, makes you feel better, and then it predisposes you to osteoporosis down the line. So talk about strength training, switching back gears, and then building muscle. One of the statements that you said long time ago when you were coaching a client, you said, muscle is the currency of our future. And I cannot tell you how many times I've repeated that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I equate it to our retirement account.
Tell us.
In many ways.
Yes.
Right? Because both literally and figuratively and in all aspects. Number one, the strength of our leg muscles has now been shown to, be in alignment with our brain.
Yes.
Right? So the
Yes.
stronger our
100%.
leg muscles,
Yes.
the stronger our brain.
Yes.
Essentially. But also, 1 out of 2 women have an osteoporotic fracture over the age of 50.
Wait, hold on. Can you repeat that statistic for our listeners to hear? 1 out of 2 women.
Will have an osteoporosis-related fracture over 50. How
That's
do I prevent
crazy.
that? And so, yeah.
I don't want to be the other woman. I want to be.
I know.
I don't
That
want to
was
be
my
the other
point,
one.
Which is why, that's
So what do we do?
why we show up to the gym and why we eat our protein, because if I'm just showing up to the gym and lifting my weights, if I am not eating enough protein, then I don't have the ability to build that muscle that I need to help protect my bones and to help, maintain that bone density.
Yes.
So I need to make sure that, again, I'm living intentionally with
Yes.
my nutrition
Yes.
and with my movement.
Yes.
I mean, it might sound so cliche.
I know. But step by step is a consistency. Yes.
It really all does go together. And it does not have to be complicated.
Oh,
And
yes.
I think that's the thing that I really want women to understand. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just like you're doing. You're
Yes.
getting up and you're in your basement from 6 to 6:30. You know, there's nothing complicated about
No.
that.
No.
It's simple, but I don't want people to confuse simple with easy.
No.
Right? It's not
Have to make a
easy.
lot of sacrifices to get that done.
Right.
And
But you have to decide, right?
it's
What do I
important.
want? What do I want when I'm 60? Do I want to be able to get out of a chair? How about 70? Am I still able to get out of that chair?
Yes.
At 80, can I still do it?
Muscle is the currency of our future.
And right,
Yeah.
you know,
As you move that body.
that's
Yes.
our retirement account.
That
right?
is. That
You
is.
can either spend your retirement account moving around,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or you can spend your retirement account paying for in-home care. I mean,
That's deep.
yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
It might sound
Yes.
harsh,
I know. It does.
but
It does
Hey,
sound
you know what?
harsh.
If that's
It does
what's gonna
sound
get
harsh
somebody
coming from a health coach. Well, you heard the lady. Move your body because as we move our body, we're building muscle. And as we're building muscle, it is the currency for our retirement. Because all that money you're putting in your 401k, that money is going to sit there and you're going to pay for in-home care with that money.
Right.
But she'll rather us use that money to move our body around and do the things that bring us joy and pleasure because we truly want to lead a fulfilled life. And what muscle and what body are we going to use to lead that fulfilled life if we're not investing in that body right now? This podcast is sponsored by Journeys, your path to intentional wellness. Most health problems don't start overnight, and neither does wellness. With Journeys, you can take charge of your health before you have to. Every cell in your body is speaking to you. But when we ignore preventive medicine, we wait until those cells are screaming. Journeys helps you listen to the whispers. There are 3 different journeys to choose from, each designed to meet you where you are in your wellness path. The Core Wellness Journey for $199 offers a foundational look at your overall health, perfect for getting started and measuring 66 biomarkers. The Advanced Heart and Metabolic Health Journey for $339 measures 111 biomarkers and goes deeper into cardiovascular, metabolic, and thyroid health for a more detailed picture. The Comprehensive Longevity and Hormone Journey costs $469 and is the most complete view, including hormone, nutrient markers that support energy, balance, and healthy aging. This measures 120 biomarkers. Each journey includes a personalized recommendation, one-on-one care from your pharmacist, and follow-up support to help you turn results into lasting intentional change. You just won't get data. You'll get guidance, accountability, and a partner in your wellness journey. Intentional living means paying attention, staying curious, and taking steps towards the health you deserve. Start your journeys today. Click the link in the show notes. So we talked about preventing osteoporosis. We talked about moving your body. We've covered nutrition. We've covered movement. We've covered inner alignment.
morning so far.
Yes, we have. We have. We're just sitting here and talking about it. But I expect us to do and figure out practical ways. You know, if our listeners were to take one thing from you, like what is the one thing that they can do that they can impact and just start in their lives today that will give, you know, big rewards towards this intentional living journey? What would be your advice for somebody starting out on their intentional living journey?
Don't overcomplicate things. In
Tell
other
us
words,
more.
If there's a day when you're like, oh, I can't, you can't get down to the basement, let's say, Emlah, because you have to get to something.
Yes.
Always remember something is better than nothing. So
Yes.
I can do some squats.
Yes.
Right? While I'm
Yes.
brushing my teeth.
Yes.
I can do some push-ups using my counter while I'm waiting for my
Yes.
coffee or my tea to brew.
Yes.
How can I work movement into my day on days when it just seems like it's not possible? Because guess what? It is, right?
I love
We
that.
have
Yes.
to change our mindset of it has to be this amount of time. It has to be done this certain way. We have to think outside the box.
I love that.
When we pin ourselves into that corner of it
Yes.
has to look like this, that's when it gets
You bring in failure, you bring in guilt. Yes.
right. And we don't do it.
Yeah.
So if I can, how can I move my body intentionally today,
Yes.
even on those days when I feel like I don't have time?
Don't overcomplicate things, she
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
This is beautiful advice, and I needed to hear that today. Because some mornings I get up and I'm not able to make that 30 minutes happen because maybe I have an early meeting or my daughter has something at school. So, and I figured out a way. I had gone to a conference and I talked with a guy, and every time we talked about, because he goes to a lot of these conferences. And so I was on a panel with him and we were just talking, we're having lunch, and I said, he said he works out every single day. And I said, so do you miss a day? During this conference, have you gone to the gym? Yeah, I think we were at a hotel and it was really big. And we started a conversation by, he said he walked 30 minutes and got lost in a hotel trying to find the gym. And it was one of those like Opryland convention centers. Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
and he got lost for about 30 minutes. And he said by the time he found the gym, he already had a workout. And, but he told me something which I have never forgotten. He said on days that he is at a conference, he does push-ups in his hotel room before he gets out. And I said, that sounds like a great idea. Since then, it's about 2 years now. And every time I'm at a conference, I do push-ups before I take my shower if I go to a conference. And I brought that home with me because I said on a day that I don't have the time to go work out, I just do push-ups.
Right. It creates consistency, right?
Love it. Love
Because
it.
You're not skipping a day.
Yes.
It creates
So even if it's not
consistency
30 minutes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's what your body needs, is that consistency. That being said, let's say you are sick and you can't do
Yes.
your push-ups.
Yes.
Then we go back to honoring our body, being intentional.
Thank
right?
you.
And it's okay to take a rest day. So I don't want it to be
Oh.
construed that, Jen says you can't take a rest day, or you
Yes.
can't do this every day, or you're not consistent. Remember that consistency is doing something more than
Yes.
that.
Can I have you as my health coach for life?
You know I'm always here
I
for
do.
you.
I do. I'm honored and blessed. And I'm so honored and blessed. Don't overcomplicate it. Create consistency. It is such an honor, to have you on the show today. And I am not going to let you go without asking
Okay.
my favorite question, which leads us into our supplement school with Emlah.
Oh.
So if we were going on a journey and you were only allowed to take one supplement with you, we're packing today and we're leaving, and you can only bring one supplement. What is that going to be?
Okay. I am packing magnesium.
All right.
My second
Shocked, because I thought you were going to say something
I
else.
was going to say vitamin D. But
Okay.
my thought is I could go outside and get my vitamin D.
Yes.
So I'm going to pack my magnesium and go outside and get my vitamin D.
I love that. I love that. Okay, she's come up with a plan. This girl, this is why she's my health coach. She found a way to take two supplements with her without actually taking two supplements. So she's going to still have her vitamin D. Yes, because she cannot. Yeah, tell me, before I talk about magnesium, why are you so passionate about vitamin D?
Because it plays such an important role
Yes.
in our overall health.
Yes,
You know,
it does.
It's-
it does. I was just reading a study about the relationship between vitamin D levels and early onset dementia
Yes.
levels. And I was just like, wow, every day new stuff just keeps coming up about vitamin D. So we need those levels. Again, before I go to magnesium, your levels of vitamin D, they say should be 30 to 100. We don't want to be around 30. And it's just like sending Cassidy to school and says, hey, baby girl, go get anywhere from a 30 to 100. That's not what we want for her. Yes. And we want her to be closer to 100. We want her to be up there having an A grade. That's the ideal. That's what's going to prevent osteoporosis. That's what's going to give us the cardiovascular protection. But since you're taking magnesium with you today, supplement school with Emlah today, don't worry, supplement school, there's no exam. It's just bite-sized knowledge about a supplement that our guest picks for the day, and I get to tell you as much about magnesium in a short piece of time. So here we go. Magnesium is one of my favorite minerals, and I just love it. I knew we were friends when she said magnesium. I mean, I knew we were friends before, but magnesium, whenever you see a bottle of magnesium, do me a favor. Don't look at the front. Just turn the bottle to the back and look at the active ingredients. There's going to be a word after the word magnesium. It's going to be magnesium oxide, magnesium sulfate, magnesium glycinate, magnesium threonate, magnesium citrate, magnesium malate. There's more than 11 different salt forms of magnesium. So don't worry. It's Supplement School with Emlah. I'm not going to make you memorize all of this. I'm going to tell you my top 3. I still don't expect you to memorize it because there's no exam with Supplement School with Emlah. So magnesium glycinate is typically my general go-to.
That's mine.
Yes.
Having my magnesium.
So that's the reason why we're friends. I'm so happy I have you here today. So with magnesium glycinate, because the molecules are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, it can help us relax. It can help us with our mood. And magnesium glycinate doesn't cause the GI upset that magnesium oxide or magnesium citrate will cause. So when people take magnesium oxide, I'm like, who wants to eat chalk and have diarrhea? Like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you take your money and buy that? Get a better salt form of magnesium, which is easier on your gut, and then it's able to help you. Magnesium malate is another one. Magnesium malate, if you want to remember that, malate, M for muscles, that's the one that helps the muscles. Since she says muscle is the currency of our future, magnesium malate kind of helps relaxes the muscles, the general skeletal muscle. Think of magnesium as a general muscle relaxer. So that's why I usually advise my clients to take magnesium in the evening because it helps you fall asleep and stay asleep, kind of relaxing your muscles so you're not just going to bed tense and, oh, I'm tired today, and just fall asleep tense and wake up without a restorative sleep. Magnesium is relaxing your muscles. Think of our great-grandparents. Our grandparents would use Epsom salt.
Right.
Epsom salt bath, Epsom salt soak. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfide.
Yep.
They knew what they were doing. They did. And the athletes do, you did all your marathons and everything. You would do Epsom salt soaks. Yes.
Yep.
That's because magnesium relaxes your muscles. You needed like a stretch after working out. So that's really one of the things. There's also another salt form of magnesium that I'm very passionate about, the magnesium threonate. That's the best one for the brain. So when it comes to memory, when it comes to brain health, when it comes to sleep, when it comes to migraine prevention, magnesium threonate will be the best go-to. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes about our tri-blend magnesium, which has a combination of 3 salt forms of magnesium. So you're not taking 3 different magnesium. See what I did there? Emlah Naturals Magnesium Tri-Blend has all those magnesium for you. We also have a magnesium glycinate powder, which you can give children and you can give the elderly if they cannot swallow capsules. And you could do like a nighttime drink. My pharmacist, Ronnie, she would do like a nighttime cocktail with a magnesium glycinate because it is sweet. The salt form is sweet and nice. So she can give the children to help them fall asleep and stay asleep. And much more safer than melatonin. Yes.
And women who are in perimenopause and menopause who are often complaining
Yes.
that I can't sleep.
Yes.
I know who you are.
Yes, magnesium right there. And magnesium helps with hormone conversion. Magnesium helps with blood sugar regulation. Magnesium helps with putting the blood pressure in, keep maintaining an optimal healthy blood pressure levels. Magnesium helps in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. So we prioritize it.
For me, so.
It is real life for all of us. And I hope that you gain something from Supplement School with Emlah today. Thank you so much for coming to spend this time with us, Jen. And I appreciate you. And I hope that our listeners have found this as inspirational as I have. Having you in my life is such a blessing. And I have shared you with my clients. And my hope for the listeners today is to share this podcast with people in their life. Share this podcast with at least 2 people in your life who you think they will benefit from this. Give a review to this podcast so that way we grow and share this information about intentional living to many more, because together we'll go far.
Yep. And be sure to join Emlah at Intentional Living 2026.
Oh my goodness. It is going to be so fun. I know you bought your ticket already. Girl, you're not playing. We've sold several tickets already, but we are so excited. A link will be in the show notes for the tickets, and it's going to be at So Plated in Upper Arlington, and my favorite restaurant. We are going to we'll be having Sonny, she owns the restaurant on the podcast here very soon. I'm so excited for Intentional Living Experience, and a little bit will be in the show notes. So thank you for listening today, and share this podcast with a friend or a family member that you love, and be kind to your body. Thank you.